Hey folks, it's Nessa here in Infinitely Zero's channel. Just wanted to come back and do a review of my experiences of the Red Heart all-in-one new Sweethearts yarn. Anyways, but before that, wanted to say hi and welcome to my new and returning watchers and subscribers. Thanks so much for being here. If you're new here, please click and you like the content of my channel, please click the join button, which allows you to subscribe, and subscribing is free. Or you can, if you decide to, you can become a member. And I explain that there also. And hi and welcome to my members. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you so much for your continued support. So, let's get on with it. Red Heart has come out with, for a while now, this line, which is their all-in-one granny square, and then they came out with all-in-one granny square like flower power, where you can make the squares, and it has a flower shape inside of the square, and the yarn changes color on its own. It's self-striping yarn, but the color changes go with the motif style, and they show what it looks like on the label. And then they came out with all-in-one Grande, which are big 12-inch squares. They came out with the Petite, which are smaller squares. They came out with the all-in-one Quilt, which is for corner-to-corner squares, which I show in another video. And when I talk about the colors I had bought of this, you can click on this link above, and I'll go into the link for the video when I talk about this yarn that I already did an unboxing for those last year. And yeah, so I was just thinking, I was like, so let's get into this. So, oh yes, so now the new recent one, which was released, is the Red Heart all-in-one Sweethearts yarn, which is this yarn. I showed it in, I think it's still up there, that video unboxing last week. So I didn't buy all the colors, I only bought a few colors, and I said I'd do a video once I tried it out and let you guys know what I thought. It's my opinion. I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I bought these with my own money. So these all-in-one Sweetheart yarns, the yarn is softer than the regular Red Heart Super Saver yarn. They suggest to use a 5.5 millimeter I9 crochet hook, or a 5 millimeter US 8 knitting needles. But to get this motif pattern that's on here, it's a crochet pattern. They have this free pattern on their website and the Yarnspirations website, and also a QR code on the label. So it's a cute cardigan. It's called the Crochet Party Hardy Cardi. And it says you need 4 balls of this yarn to make that. It says patent pending. It's Oka Tech Standard 100 certified. And apparently a winner of America's most recommended yarn. I didn't know that. It's made in Turkey, this one specifically. And it's a medium 4-weight yarn. It's machine wash, dry, I guess low dryable. 100% acrylic. And it says it's 1 skein. You can make 16 of these squares. The net weight is 8.8 ounces, 250 grams, or 440 yards, or 402 meters. You need to follow their pattern to make these squares. That's what I just read to you. This is what those squares look like. And this colorway is called Primary. So, let's get into the square talking part. So this is the first square I made. I usually crochet loosely, so I went 1 hook size down to a 5 millimeter H8, and that wasn't enough, and you know, still my tension tighter and all that. So actually I find that the way the color changes for this all-in-one Sweethearts yarn is tighter than what I experienced when I was making the other all-in-one Granny Square, Petite Yarn, Grande, and Quilt. So this is, I went down to 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. I don't remember what the letter is for that. Because the G is a 4. Anyways, so this is how that came out. Again, as you can see, those are the colors here, the turquoise, the yellow, orange, and the red. It kind of reminds me of a sunflower. I think if this had like a brown center, or you know, some yellow in the color, it would also remind me of a sunflower, but I think that looks really cool. This is both put together. So you see, you need to measure, you know, and it says it in the pattern, to have the 4 inches in the beginning of your tail. And personally, I like using this yarn. I don't like to weave in ends. Yeah, it could be a little fiddly, but once you get the hang of it, it's fine. It's not so bad. You know, you just gotta follow their pattern, pay attention to what you're doing, you know. It helps to take out all the yarn of that color that you're working on to where it transitions to the next color, so that you can see how much color you have, and if you need to tighten your tension or loosen your tension, you can do that. And like I said, this is how much I had left when I used the 4.5 millimeter. It's not a lot, but it's a little more than the all-in-one granny square. Let's see, they're about, yeah, it's about the same amount, more or less. What else did I want to say? Yeah, you know, and having a bit of patience. For me, it hurts my hands when I hold the needles, or you know, like sewing needle or darning needle to weave in ends. And honestly, like, you know, and again, this is my opinion, right? And the other thing too is I think these are awfully convenient if you're traveling and you want to work on these projects. You have to just take one skein of yarn with you. Also, if you're on a tighter budget, you can make motif squares and you only need, you know, the one yarn. You don't need 3 for these, right? Or for the other granny squares, if it had 4 or 5 colors, you don't need 4 or 5 extra skeins of yarn to do that project and carry those around. You just have it all with one. You don't have to weave in all those ends. So, you know, if you were using different colors for this, of different yarns, that would have been 6 ends to weave in, and here you only have 2. So I made this square as well. Whoops. This, which way does the heart go? I think it came out really pretty. I actually like this one more than the other one. This color was Flame, which I showed last time. So this is the primary. And that's the Flame. Actually, that yellow orange is the same, so that's pretty cool. That's matching. And that's what this skein looks like. The specs are the same. So it's kind of a lighter yellow with an orange, and then a yellow orange. And again, you know, it shows on the label. I had bought this one. No, I didn't make a square for every color. I don't have that level of time. That looks pretty. This colorway is called Pure to Heart. And it's a beige with a white and a medium gray color. And then the other colorway I had gotten, and I'm showing this in case you didn't see that other video, is this one, which is darker. And this one is called Hearts of Stone. And it's like a medium gray with a darker gray and a kind of like a steel gray, bluish gray color. So it's sort of different grays there. And then I had gotten this green one too. I think this one would be cool for St. Patty's Day. So it has a lighter green with then a darker forest green and maybe like sort of like a Kelly green. And this one is called Chemistry. And that's what the squares look like. So yeah, so I wanted to show you that since I said that I was going to make that video. And I figured while I was up and doing this, I may as well show some of the squares I've done recently with the all-in-one Granny Square Grande yarn. Let me see. I wonder if the yardage is the same. So this one, it's one skein, makes 4 squares. The squares are 12 inches. And this yarn is made in India. This colorway is called Cat's Meow. It was actually sent to me in error from Yarnspirations, but they corrected that order and then ended up sending, because I had ordered the primary one, I think it was called. No, it was called Full Spectrum, where it's similar colors without the pink. And they had sent me this, but I let them know and they fixed it, which was great. I have another video coming out, which will be a thank you, and I'm going to show what actually happened this weekend. So very excited about that. It was really nice of them. Let me see. So this, it's the same weight yarn, same recommendations on the hook sizes. And it is the same amount of weight, the 8.8 ounces, 250 grams, 440 yards, or 402 meters. So that's all there as well. And this one, it's a yellow color with a pink, with 2 shades of blue, a light blue and a darker blue. Yeah, and yellow, yeah. And that's what the squares look like. And also, just in case you don't know, or you end up with this yarn and you don't want to follow their patterns, you can make other patterns with it. Just be aware that it's gonna, that the sections that change, the sections are not the same length of the different colors. They obviously change at different lengths, so because they're designed to make these motifs easier for you to make. And they have a pattern for this cool looking blanket, and that's also free, available on your Yarnspirations site. Apparently that blanket is called Crochet Groovy Granny Blanket. I hadn't seen it, but I think it looks really cool. It's 1 ball of each. Doesn't really say how many balls you need for the whole thing. But I guess if you can count the squares, right? Each ball makes 4 squares. There you go. And that's like the QR code, and it's available on their website. So, and going into that, because I'm going to show these to you guys. I had gotten these in the mystery boxes that I had gotten last year, I think. Yeah, last year. This one was the white blue colorway, and they were smaller. They were like 200 yards. The specs are pretty much the same, except it's 4.4 ounces, 125 grams, 208 yards, and 190 meters, but it's also a number 4 weight yarn. These are actually the same. This is the same colorway as the all-in-one Flower Power, as one of their colorways that has the white, blue, and yellow. It's just half of the size of one of these skeins. Well, one of these that's the all-in-one all-in-one Flower Power skein. So if it had 3 colors, it was similar to the all-in-one Flower Power. If it had more colors in it, then it was similar to the all-in-one Granny Square yarn. And I had also gotten this one in that same box. I know it's a little beat up. And this one was the colorway Azul Verde. Yeah, like I said, I'm using it, so it's just it's a little used. And I had made these little squares where I was doing different patterns, and I added like a herrschners yarn. So, you can do all different things. And for me, it doesn't really bug me that it changed halfway through. I was trying to check out that African flower pattern. And these patterns were from the Granny Square card deck. That's available on Amazon. Yeah, and I had done these two also. So I thought that was pretty cool. I liked how this one came out. Ooh, I might make this one bigger now that I look at it. I think that looks pretty neat. And of course, like in the deck, it called for, you know, more different colors, but whatever. I was just playing around making different squares. Okay. And that was for another project where I'm going to make a pocket thing. So I've been making some squares for, you check out Diana D Loves Yarns YouTube page. I'll put the channel link up there. And it's also a link in the description box below. Her, and then when she goes live, Paula Mint usually goes with her. So both of them have been doing a project where it's towards the end now. But it's a friendship square crochet along. So for those of us who had signed up and wanted to participate, you pretty much are making 20 squares with a 4-weight yarn, whatever pattern you want, and then you're sending it to them at the deadline, and then we swap them, and then we get the squares from the other people, and then we all join them to make our blanket. So I'm going to reveal some of my squares. No, I haven't finished yet. But I figured because some of them were made using these yarns that I would show it, right? So I used more than one skein of that 206 yards, I think. So this was that white skein that I used, and the pattern is from, I think it's Mama in a Stitch. She had a crochet along for granny squares last year. And I think depending which way you look at it is how it goes. But yeah, I mean, this is why the yellow and the blue change color in there randomly. Hopefully the person that receives it likes it and doesn't get too bothered that it's not symmetrical. And then I made this one, which is kind of like a granny square in the round, which was also made with that yarn. And this pattern is from Heart Hook Home, from her crochet along from the Halloween sparkly blanket last year. So I grabbed that to make that 12-inch square. Some of these aren't exactly perfectly 12 inches, pretty close. So this I made with that Cat's Meow yarn. This is actually following the Yarnspirations pattern. For this, I believe I used a 5mm hook for my tension gauge. They recommend a 5.5mm, but again, I said, it's gonna vary by the person, by your personal tension, what works for you, or sometimes you have to change it while you're doing that. In certain sections, I had to go back to the 5.5mm. So, and there I started with a little bit of the 4 inches, and then this was what was left, I think. Not a lot left over. But yeah, I think that looks quite pretty. And then I decided to do some other, and here's the second one I made with, from that yarn of their pattern. I decided to change things up a bit and use a different pattern from the Mama in a Stitch, whatever, from her Madame in a Stitch. I forget her name. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have the description box below to that crochet along. But this was one of the, and it was different designers who actually contributed and designed the different squares for that blanket crochet along. And it's free on her site. So yeah, so I made this one with it. And again, I think depending which way you hold it is how it looks. And this I wasn't, you know, calculating, so it really didn't matter where it ended up. After making these 4 squares, I only ended up with some leftover of that yellow, this yellow yarn. Not too much, but it's fine. And then I also grabbed this pattern from there too, which I thought came out pretty nice. It's interesting. And I don't mind when it changes color like that chaotically. I may have color controlled this a little bit in the middle, I think. I don't remember now. But yeah. So, that's what I have so far. Just wanted to show you that, you know, you can do other things you want with them. You don't have to follow their pattern, and you can make, you know, cool things like that, or other little cool smaller squares too. So I hope you enjoy that. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great time, or great day or night. Bye.